Hello, welcome back. I'm Miniature Mike, and I'm continuing and doing part 2 of Luke Skywalker for my character review and comparison video. So I did part 1. If you haven't checked it out, please check it out and take a look at it. Would love to hear your thoughts on it. I've made some format updates to improve it, make it much more, much easier to kind of digest and connect with all the different ratings and things I give characters. So I think you'll really like that a lot if you haven't checked that out yet. And like I mentioned in my other video, I'm recording these back to back, and so I have a 3D printer going on right now. So I did a sound check. It wasn't that big of a deal, but you might pick stuff up here and there. So I just want to make you aware in case it was like super annoying or something. You weren't sure what was going on. But anyways, with that, I'm gonna jump right into it. And these second set of Luke Skywalkers are overall pretty powerful, pretty bonkers, honestly. The first set overall not very good, a couple good ones. But Luke Skywalker Part 2 has a lot to offer, so let's jump into it. First off, we got Luke Skywalker Hoth Pilot Unleashed. I think he's a pretty sick character. I think he's a tad overrated, but very good, very good. So he's 28, he's 80, 19, 11, and 20. He's got no melee, so those are actually fantastic stats for a shooter at cost 28. Really good stats, but in terms of special abilities, he doesn't really have anything going for him. He's got Pilot, Demolition Charge, which is kind of more flavor in my opinion. It's not really I don't think you're going to use it very often at all, and if you do, your enemy made a big mistake. So it's there, but it's not that crazy. So Force powers, though, this is where he shines. He's Force 2, Force Renewal 1, and he has Deflect, which is very nice for him to have, very good for that range survivability. And then he has Force Push 4, which is kind of the real awesome thing for him. So the cool thing about him is he costs 28, and he has he has one of those powerful Force Unleashed powers. And to get a Force power like that at this cheapness is very unique, and I think that's what sets him apart and makes him really good. So overall, I think he's a really good piece. His hit points are really good. His range survivability is great, so fantastic at range. Overall, I think his melee survivability is poor. The only reason I'm saying that is because his only defense really is he push people away from him, but then when he's out of force, he's kind of hosed. So overall, not the best range survivability. His attack is exceptional. 11 attack on a 28 shooter is basically like no one has that really. So awesome attack. So I like his stats. I wish he could do more aside from force push. I wish he was a little bit more versatile, could do a little bit more. Because I feel like if he even had like double or twin attack or something or mobile or something, that could make him really scary, but it's okay. He just kind of revolves around force push. His special abilities are poor in my opinion. His force powers, great. Synergy, his ability synergy, so none of his powers synergize together really well. He just has Force Push 4. Those don't go really with Demolition Charge or nothing like that, so I don't think his ability synergy is very great. But I think he's pretty versatile, not extremely. I think, again, if he had something like a Twin or Mobile or something like that, that'd make him much more versatile, or even like a Vade or something. I'd like that a lot. But his versatility, it is good, because he's got the great stats. If he needs to shoot, he can. He's got Deflect for that range stuff. Force Push 4 is always going to be nice, so pretty solid. His Luke score, I think he's a great Luke, personally. He's one of the better ones. Blue Milk would agree with that. And then his specialties, I just kind of called him a Force Tornado, kind of like, Vader Unleashed, like Vader's apprentices as well. Just awesome force powers, just blasting people away. And not too bad on eBay either, about $20. So in summary, he's a shooter technically. He's a shooter technically with awesome stats for the cost. His Demolition Charge, it's fine, but you'll probably never see it. But his real threat is getting a power like Force Push 4 on a cheap mini like this. That's really cool. So super nice to be able to have that. So a lot of fun character. I think he's a teeny bit overrated personally, but as you can see on Blue Milk, but I think he's super good. Luke Skywalker and Yoda. So this is personally overall my very most favorite Luke Skywalker character. And we'll get into why that is. So he's expensive. He's a 70. He's got 150 hit points, 20 defense, 13 attack, 20 damage. So maybe attack and defense isn't quite there, but he's got melee and twin, which is nice, but a little underwhelming for abilities. But his force powers are crazy. Totally crazy. Like, it's Yoda taking over. He's got 3 force, Force Renewal 3, Master of the Force 3, so he can just do everything with the Force. He is a Force tornado of sorts defensively. So he has Alter, and if you have Master of the Force 3, that's going to make Alter even better. He's got Force defense, awesome. He's got enough Force to use it too. He's got Force push 3, very nice to throw that on there as a little kind of added defensive thing that you can kind of use. He's got Force stun. I love that he has Force stun with Master of the Force 3, because then he can, target the same character, target several characters, and just go like stun, 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 stun. Really underrated. And then he has lightsaber reflect as well, which is even better than deflect. Not a lot better, but a little bit better. Yeah, so awesome. And he has enough Force. I love that he has enough Force points to do this stuff. Incredible when it comes to defense. So overall, I thought his score came out to be great. His hit points are great. His range survivability is top notch, just because he has so much Force and he can reflect to death if he wants to, which is very nice. And he's got great stats going along with him. His melee survivability is also awesome. He doesn't have like block, outright, but Alter's going to be very great. Stun's going to be very great. Force push in a way, roundabout way helps there too. So great survivability. His attack is poor though. His max damage is bad. So he's got, the offense is not there for him. His special abilities overall are poor, just because it's just twin. That's it, really. It's just twin attack at the end of the day. So it's not bad. It's just poor. His Force powers are exceptional, second to none. That synergy and versatility, all of that's awesome. Pretty dang great. I say his versatility is a little bit worse though. I think his synergy is great because his Force powers and kind of how they can play off each other. But I'd say versatility is also awesome. A little step down, because while he can do a lot of great stuff defensively versatility, his offensive versatility is not exactly there. Like in some ways it is, but it's still pretty solid. His Luke score, he got my 5. He got my best score for Luke. I think he's the best Luke, but there's definitely room for disagreement. I think he's exceptional. He's a defensive Force duelist, and he's about $26. So even though he's not that expensive, I feel like sometimes he's hard to find on eBay, so he's pretty good overall. So in summary, he's my favorite melee Luke, and I think he's just an absolute Force nuclear power plant, just crazy. I love mixing a piece like Yoda with Luke together because they can kind of play off each other. So his offensive potential is super limited, but he feels just untouchable defensively. And then Master of the Force things, like I said, because he has Master of the Force 3, you can do several combinations of things. You could do, stun. You could do, stun, then push. You could do Alter multiple times. So it's just pretty wild how much things he can do. So big fan of it. Big fan of this Yoda. I think of this Yoda and Luke. So you'll probably see him again when I do a Yoda video at some point. But I love it. Love this guy so much. Can't say enough good about him. Luke's Snowspeeder reminds me a lot, kind of some vibes with Luke's Landspeeder. He's actually a little bit cheaper. So overall, he's got 90, 20, 12, and 20. Really nice stats. He's got damage reduction 10, which is really helpful to give him a little extra survivability. His harpoon gun. I don't know if you'll really use it too often, but it can come in handy, I guess, if you're fighting a team that happens to have a lot of big machines, but probably won't see that. Mobile is nice. Speed 16, does have amount of weapon, and he has twin attack. So awesome, set up to be a great mobile hit and run shooter, and he's so fast. So one thing as well, and he does have flight, the other guy didn't. So terrain's not a problem. He can just zip around, shoot you, run away. He's a pain to deal with. But you have to remember, he is a large base, and that's very clunky. So just keep that in mind. And he has 4 Force powers, so give it for what it's worth. If you got to do a reroll, if you want to go 2 extra squares, great. Or if you want to reroll some other thing, it's nice that he has it. So overall, I think he's awesome. It's kind of funny because he actually turned out to have one of the better scores overall. Even though I don't think he's the best Luke, but he's still pretty dang good. So he's awesome. His hit points are good. His range survivability is, basically top notch. His melee survivability is exceptional because I don't know, as a melee piece, what you can do to fight this guy. I just feel like there's nothing you can really do because he's just too fast. So his attack is great. His max damage is a little underwhelming because he costs a lot but only does 40 at the end of the day. His special ability is exceptional. His abilities, synergy, and his versatility, I think they're both awesome, because I think all these play off very well with each other. I didn't give him any force power. I'm just kind of counting his force powers in, saying, hey, it's a little cherry on top for his abilities, because I didn't want to dock him for not having any powers. I think it's a kind of more a compliment to everything else he can do. His Luke score, I'm also giving an awesome rating of 4.5, which is awesome. Super nice hit and run. I've used him a couple times. I use Luke's Landspeeder more. For some reason, I just like I like some of the stuff that one offers. He's less bulky. He's got way more hit points, even though this guy does have damage reduction. And then he also has some fun force powers. They're both kind of pick your poison, whichever one you want. But yeah, pretty solid. His Luke score is awesome. He's hit and run, and he's not that expensive. In fact, I think I have one. I might have one right now selling on eBay, I think. Or it might just be a regular Snowspeeder, but he's great. In summary, he's like Luke's Landspeeder. He's kind of pros different things. You know, he has flight, but less hit points. He's faster. So he also has great hit and run. He's a large base, so you gotta keep that in mind. And then overall, I think he pairs very well with someone like Chewbacca of Hoth as like a great pit stop helper. Because if you have someone like Chewbacca of Hoth, he can repair this guy very quickly. You know, he can run out, hit and run, come back. If he gets any damage of some sort, you can quickly resolve it. If the situation arises, you could use his gunner to maybe do like a more critical attack. So definitely a lot of fun. I know some people out there, some of you guys have mentioned to me you're not really into large base characters. I totally get it. They're very bulky and awkward. But I think he's one of the best ones in the game, personally. One of the best ones. Super great. Let's move on to Luke Skywalker, Legacy of the Light Side. He's at 39, a little pricey. He's 70 hit points, which is kind of bad for how expensive he is, but it's actually not as big a deal. He's got 19 defense, 9 attack, 20 damage. He's got unique. He does not shoot. He doesn't have melee. He can shoot, which is awesome. But he's got crazy abilities. He's got accurate shot, careful shot, which I think kind of comes more in handy when in like a melee situation because you're not moving. But it's nice that he has that to pretty easily bump the attack. Double, greater mobile, and stealth. So I think this whole combination of abilities is about as good as you could ask for. And then comes with force powers, again, kind of like some other characters. They're not like crazy or overwhelming, but they're super useful. They're super necessary. He's got deflect, which again goes with all of the stuff. So when it comes to range survivability, like he's got everything, basically. He just doesn't have evade, I guess, but you don't really need that, I suppose, as much when you have this going on. And then Jedi Mind Trick is good. So if someone gets close to him, you can kind of manipulate them a little bit. So overall, I think he's great. His hit points, though, do leave a lot to be desired, so you got to watch out. His range survivability is exceptional with having all the stuff. The hit and run, the stealth, the deflect, pretty high defense, too. His melee survivability is also really good. I like that he has Jedi Mind Trick. He can do a little, again, hit and running against melee people if he needs to, and then careful shot can help him counterattack much easier. Overall, his attack is good. His max damage output, it's okay. It's not the worst, but it's kind of more fair. His special abilities, exceptional suite of abilities. His force powers are great. His synergy and his versatility. So I feel like his powers synergize amazing together, but they're also very versatile powers. So can do quite a bit. And when it comes to Luke, I think he's great. I think he's a great Luke. Really, really underrated in my opinion. Blue Milk only gave him a 7.5. I don't know why. Is he just overcosted maybe a little bit? Maybe. He might cost too much, to be honest with you. Maybe just a little bit. That's probably why. If you brought him down to like maybe a 35 or 33, that might be even more enticing. But I think he's got such a sweet set of powers. Specialties, a great mobile stealth shooter. And then, yeah, costing 10. Very cheap character picked up. In my opinion, I think he's wildly underrated. It's probably just his cost is holding people back. He has everything, a stellar stealth shooter would want. Plus, he's got great force powers. And then careful shot, like I mentioned, is nice to have in there because if you're in a situation where people can't target you, you can get off some really precise shots. And if people are in a melee situation with you, you'll have much better attack to deal with it. So overall, I think he's really sweet. I haven't really used him much though, but I really, really like. If you just sit there and just look at his powers, in theory, I feel like he can do so much. So awesome character. Let's move on to Luke Skywalker, Force Spirit. So I won't get into him too much. He's just costs 10, speed 4, and he has light spirit. So just like Obi-Wan Kenobi, Obi-Wan was 8 but has speed 2. And then there's Yoda, which I'll talk about later, who's got a lot more going for him. But light spirit, as you know, basically ignores characters' terrain. He can't open doors. He can't be attacked. Whatever. Doesn't provide any cover. Basically doesn't exist. But he gives a unique ally. So at the start of scrimmage, you choose someone, and that person gains a Force rating, and they gain Force Renewal 1. So basically, that's really, really, really handy power. There's a variety of people you can give it to, a good variety of people you can give it to, and it can be really helpful. And they also get metal as well. So, but these powers only work if you're within 4 squares, so it's kind of like a little battery. And then, if you need an enemy with Force points, can kill him. So he's kind of a character you want to use as that Force battery, move into action, support a little bit, but then he'll probably die eventually if the person really wants to get rid of him, the enemy does. But I think he's a really nice one. I don't know if I'd necessarily take him over Obi-Wan. They're in different teams, but they both are really good. I don't think the speed is much of an issue, so I think overall they're both great. So overall, he's a great piece. His special ability, awesome. Luke score, I think he's great. Blue Milk would agree he's pretty good, and then he's just a Force Ghost support. And he's about $15. I think he's actually the only Luke I do not own right now, so I'll have to keep an eye out for him. He's a little faster than Obi-Wan Ghost, and then he's just a very nice one-off. So in terms of New Republic people, you could attach him to Jason or Jaina Solo. You could attach him to Kip Duron, 2 of the Kyle Katarns. Kyle Katarn Battle Master sounds pretty fun with this guy. Cornhorn, Wolfsausen, Mara Jade, and then also nice for a variety of Fringe characters. There's a lot of different Fringe Force users that if they gain Force Renewal from him, could be pretty scary, pretty fun. Like Cade Skywalker, could be pretty cool. So overall, great piece. I won't spend any more time on him, but a nice support. Luke Skywalker Jedi, he's a 29, so he's actually a little more expensive than Luke Skywalker Jedi Knight. I think of this character as the respin of Luke Skywalker Jedi Knight. They have like the same pose, almost the same sculpt, they have the same stats, a lot of same stuff. And so this guy's 90, 18, 10, and 9, 20, same as the last one. But this guy, instead of just having double, he's got Gemso style, very nice. And then he has Flurry, which is kind of a lot of... You'll notice a lot of Luke's have Flurry attack kind of mixed in. It's one of Luke's traits, which is pretty good. It's a cherry on top power that is nice to have, but don't plan around it. Force powers, great Force powers overall. Just vary the basics, what you need. He's got Night Speed, and then he has lightsaber defense, basically. So super nice. Overall, I think he's a really good piece. He's got good hit points. He's got great survivability, melee and range, just because of all the stuff he's got going on. He's got poor attack. I think his attack could be a little bit better at this cost bracket. At 29s, I'm thinking of like Depa Baleba, even Peel, other people who are more like 12 attack or something like that. So it's not bad. It's just kind of poor. His max damage is really good. Gemso style definitely factors in there. His special abilities, also really nice. Really good Force powers. I think his ability synergy is fair. I don't really feel like these powers are necessarily they don't necessarily synergize crazy well together, but I think they're very versatile powers that can be very helpful in a lot of ways. Like, he's got that great defense going on. Flurry attack exists, but, it could happen on his Gemso. Who knows? So I think Gemso's definitely solid. I think as a Luke goes, I think he's really good. Blue Milk kind of agrees with that as well, and he's a riposte duelist, kind of like some of the Darth Vaders. And very easy to find on eBay. So, very easy to find KOTOR character. And like I mentioned before in summary, he's a remake of Luke Skywalker Jedi Knight. He's a very nice riposte duelist overall, with Gemso style, block. I really like that. If you want just a nice melee character, he's a good option. He's a fun option. And I think he's a good all-around with very useful Force powers. So let's move in. We have 2 more Lukes left, and then we're almost done. Luke Skywalker Rebel Commando. Kind of similar in some ways to the last one, but has different powers going for him. He's a 27, 70, 18, 8, and 20, so a little bit worse on the stats side, but he's really made up for with his abilities. So he's got double. He also has cunning attack, so no other Lukes have a damage modifier really, and he does have one, which is really fun. He's got Gemso style, greater mobile attack, stealth, so he can kind of run in, do 60 damage, and then kind of run out with his melee attack going on, so very nice. Force powers, not as exciting. He's got Force 4. Deflect is always nice. And then Levitation. It's kind of there more for flavor than anything. So overall, I think he's great. Having all of this stuff on a 27, super fun. However, his hit points, not the best. His range survivability is, basically is almost as high as you could possibly get it. Basically, it's fantastic. His melee survivability is also pretty good because he has powers like Gemso to help out, Cunning Attack to help out potentially if he is attacking first. His attack is bad, so he just got bad attack. So 28 attack for a melee character is not good. But if you get lucky and you're attacking first, Cunning Attack will help. His max damage is great. His special abilities are exceptional. This is a great suite of abilities. Very awesome. I just sold on eBay the other day. So I think I have another one as well. So really, really not hard to find. And he's one of the best Lukes, in my opinion. His force powers, I'd say overall are poor. And it's really just because they're limited. Deflect is good. Levitation's kind of just there. But it's limited. It just has 4 force. He'll run out. But you probably won't necessarily burn through it all in one game anyway. So overall, it's fine. His ability, synergy is great. His versatility is great. And as far as Lukes go, I gave him an awesome score. And he actually has the highest rating on Blue Milk of any Luke in the entire game at 8.69. And I get it for good reason. He's an awesome stealth duelist. And one of the greatest things as well is he could be given super stealth by Rebel Commando Strike Leader because he is a Rebel Commando follower. So that's pretty wild. So anytime you use this Luke, you have to use him with Rebel Commando Strike Leader. You really do. And then once you do, this Luke becomes just like the best, stealth assassin you could possibly imagine. He's terrifying. So yeah, so similar kit to Luke Skywalker. Legacy of the Light Side. However, he doesn't shoot, but it's okay. And I like that he has Cunning. Like I mentioned, he's the only Luke that has something that gives him a little more damage and attack, really. Some other Lukes just have a little extra attack, but overall, he's so good. So, Luke Skywalker Rebel Commando, like I mentioned, I like Luke Skywalker with Yoda. He's my favorite Luke, but I think this guy's probably a close second, along with like Landspeeder. Super, super nice. And then the final one is, Grandmaster Luke Skywalker. He's a 115, 150, 25, 23, 19, 20, so he's just totally maxed out. Triple, Gemso Mastery, and Twin. Twin works with Gemso Mastery, so like attacking him melee won't work no matter what. He will kill you. However, you can probably take this guy out if you have a really nice range squad, mobile squad as well, but he does have Master of the... Oh my gosh, this Luke I feel like is obnoxious. He's got great force powers, defense, lightsaber defense, master speed, and this commander effect, he could give a support Jedi force renewal, which is pretty sweet, pretty nice. But overall, this is going to be like a cop-out. He's excellent, or exceptional, basically. His hit points are good. For someone who costs that much, you do have characters that are cheaper, that have more hit points. But still, it's pretty good to have 150, even at that cost bracket. His everything, attack, damage output, all of it's exceptional. His force powers are awesome. They're a little bland-ish, but they're all you need. And he can do them whenever he wants. His ability synergy is awesome. I think he's extremely versatile. He can just run up on you and just use his attacks and just kill you easily. And as far as Luke's go, he also gets a 5. He's fantastic. And then Blue Milk gives him 8.68. Yeah, so you can see Rebel Commando is a 6'9", and he's a 6'8", so I think the only reason why he's not rated more is just because he costs so much. So you do get what you pay for. If you pay 115 for him, you're gonna get it. Whenever I've played against him or with him, I usually have a very smooth experience, and the enemy has a very smooth experience too if they use him. However, in summary, he definitely, also I should say, he's an everything duelist. In summary, he feels kind of like a cop-out. To me, it feels like a cop-out. Just to say, he's great at everything, but he kind of is. His highest base damage output in the game with triple twin, so he can do 6 attacks just right off the bat. And then Gemso Style Mastery means he will bludgeon you in a melee fight. So what I would recommend is if you're going to try to fight this guy, you probably need to have some talented shooters, a well-constructed team kind of working around that, and you'll be able to work past some of those things easier. You won't have to worry about Gemso Style Mastery and Twin Attack. You'll just have to worry about, kind of getting through his lightsaber defense and kind of chewing through. Because if you have the right setup, you can make him lose his force powers, you know, because you spend them a lot, and then you can kind of start to chew through him a little bit. But overall, he's amazing. I don't like him very much. I think it was kind of silly to just throw an outrageously powerful character in the game. He's a rare, and he only costs $20, so like he's really easy to get. But at least he costs a lot, so you do have to kind of you do have to pay for what you get. So overall, he's exceptional. Not my favorite Luke though, definitely not my favorite Luke at all. But yeah, pretty good. So let's go and summarize all of this up. So we have Luke Skywalker Hoth Pilot Unleashed. Awesome stats. He's a shooter, and really cheap. And then I love. He's kind of works around using that force push 4. That's kind of what his whole identity is. So overall, I think he's really good. Luke Skywalker and Yoda, just a ridiculous, incredible defensive character. Doesn't do a lot of damage. He can slowly chip away at you, but I love his defensive potential. Luke's Landspeeder, awesome hit and run piece. Just kind of like very similar to Luke's Snowspeeder, similar to Luke's Landspeeder, but they kind of have their pros and cons. He's a large base, less hit points, but still fantastic. Luke Skywalker Legacy, the light side, very, very awesome. You know, he's got some incredible hit and run, stealth, mobile sharpshooting going on for him. He's just maybe a little weak on the hit point side, but otherwise, I really, really like what he brings. Luke Skywalker Force Spirit, you know, just an awesome Force Ghost support. You know, don't need to, that goes without saying, don't need to go into that much more. Luke Skywalker Jedi, a respin of Luke Skywalker Jedi Knight. He's just a really solid all-around character. Like, you know, solid at range defense, solid in melee defense. Can get the job done. I like that he has Gemso style. Solid, really good character. Luke Skywalker Rebel Commando, in my opinion, one of the best Lukes. You know, his only real thing that's holding it back is like if someone does kind of jump on him, they'll probably take him out somewhat quick. But he's got some great powers. You can mix him with the Strike Leader to make him just so annoying to deal with. And I really like him a lot. Very fantastic. And then Grandmaster Yoda, without saying, he's just, you know, outrageous at basically everything he can do. Very, very powerful character. He does cost a lot, so that's something to kind of factor in, but he's great. So anyways, that's it. That's all the Luke Skywalkers. I hope you enjoyed this. Please like, please subscribe, and absolutely please comment. I'd love to hear your guys' thoughts on what you think about Luke Skywalker in general, especially this set of Luke Skywalkers here. This set definitely are some really, really, really good ones. They all have some similarities in some cases, but overall, very, very nice for specific roles. That's the thing I like is some characters, they just kind of have like every repeat kind of does the same thing, but a little differently. Whereas with Luke Skywalker, he has some you know, traits that you see in a lot of them. You know, you might see like, you know, the Mind Trick and Alter a lot. You might see, you know, see Gemso in the later ones. You'll definitely see a Flurry Attack sometimes. But I think every single Luke Skywalker brings something really fresh and new to the table, has a very good role to play. So anyways, with that being said, I'm looking forward to hearing your thoughts. And yeah, until next time, have a good one.